Hello there, this is Nostradamus, bringing you all the latest Phone Age news.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican girl.
Death toll in El Paso shooting rises to 22 as investigators put together timeline of accused shooters' movements. Well, the death toll will be 23 once the sick person sits in the electric chair. This is such a sad reflection of our times. Let's take a look at some more sick and twisted and sometimes downright stupid individuals that have made the news this week. Here's a lovely girl, Louise Porton, who was jailed for life for murder of her daughters this week. A mother who killed her two daughters because they got in the way of her sex life. She killed her defenseless daughters, 3-year-old Lexi and 17-month-old Scarlett, 18 days one after the other. Porton of Beechwood Court suffocated Lexi in the early hours, 15th of January 2018, and was then heard laughing at a funeral parlour 2 days before killing Scarlett on the 1st of February. They've only just released the news because of court orders and stuff. Jurors heard Porton accepted 41 friend requests on a dating app just a day after Lexi died. Calm and emotionless. While Lexi was ill in hospital just over a week before she died, Porton took topless photos in the toilets, sending them to men and arranging to perform sex acts for money with a man she'd met through a website. The children's father was broken. Apparently he'd never met the youngest one. Probably because she was such an evil, manipulative bitch. Made him out to be the baddie. When I first read this, there was a statement from the father saying he'd alerted social services time and time again and they'd done nothing to prevent it. But that's been taken out now to save any embarrassment to the social services, showing their inadequacies in these matters. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, she's 23 years old. Now news of another poor excuse for a human being from the New York Times. Indictment delayed for father who left twins in hot car. Prosecutors said the investigation into the children's deaths was not complete, raising the possibility that the charges could be reduced or dropped. Get away. Juan Rodriguez with his wife and his remaining children. Mr. Rodriguez, 39, who left his twins in his hot car while he went to work at the Bronx Hospital last week, was charged on Saturday with 2 counts, each of manslaughter, criminally negligent homicide and endangering the welfare of a child. Mr. Rodriguez has told the police it was a tragic mistake. He had assumed he dropped them off at a daycare centre. He left his kids in a hot car for 8 hours while he went for work and forgot about them. the best thing is, Mr. Rodriguez was a social worker. Wow! Here's some horrific news flipping back over to the UK. A couple of days ago, Tate Modern fall. Boy 6 fractured spine caught ears. It's a story of a little 6-year-old boy who fell from the 10th floor of the Tate Modern. So it was up at the 10th floor, and this is the 5th floor balcony, 5 floors. And he was French, visiting London with his family, and somebody total stranger to him, 17-year-old boy, has just picked him up and thrown him over, and he almost died, and it was critical. But he's stable now. What sort of person would do a thing like that? Is it a hate crime? Does this 17-year-old not like French people or something? I don't know. This young French lad's only 6, and he's 17. Add them together, you get 23. Here's another example of one of them fast zippers, as I call them. Here, watch this. Thanks, Mr. MBB333 and your viewer Jody from Colorado. I hope you don't mind me sharing this. I think it's excellent. Right, I'm pleased to report that the residents of Whaley Bridge are being allowed back into the homes now. After disaster has been averted, there's been a huge humanitarian effort to reduce the level of the dam. As you can see, they've got it down by the 8 metres, what they intended to. Proper bin grafting. They dropped all that sandbags into the hole, ton each. Look at the pipes. They've shifted all the water out. Fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic. Look at that. The water was up to the trees at maximum capacity in a matter of days, and they averted the storms. But all's good. What a huge effort. Does actually give me a little bit of hope that this government over here does actually care about the people in the country. Unlike some places where they like to keep the dangerous dams at full capacity no matter what the dangers. This is part of the town of Whaley Bridge that was threatened by a dam collapse. And this is what Whaley Bridge would have looked like if the catastrophe had happened. Let's take a look at other signs of impending catastrophe. Here's the latest graph of the latest Arctic sea mush extent. There's a couple of other things in here I want to show you. Zoom down. Hurry up. Yeah. Northern Hemispheric sea surface temperature anomaly. It's hot. Go swimming in the Arctic Sea. Ooh, that's looking less red than last time I looked. Arctic sea ice thinness. It's all going green. thicker slushes at Mackey's. Well, let's have a look at the animation. Ice thickness. It shows you the last 3 weeks plus the forecast for a week ahead. Let's see how thin they expect it to go to. Look at that. There's only slush left, and we've got weeks to go to the minimum. Oh poo. Here's a graph showing that Iceland lost 12 gigatons of ice in a day. It's picking up. Looks good, but it's still lost 6 gigatons yesterday. I think this rapid loss of ice on Greenland could end up one day causing a Earth crust displacement as the surface mass distribution changes of the planet, causing wobbles of the Earth's spin. Something to seriously think about. It only needs to start wobbling a tiny bit to put all the satellites out of action. Let's have a look at all the fires on the planet at the moment as the Earth is being slowly transformed into hell. Got quite a few in South America. These must be big ones because you see how much smoke there is. South Africa. You can't make out 2 separate dots. They're on top of each other. All the smoke. They're burning all the primal forests in Madagascar. They're clearing in Indonesia, burning down the forests for palm oil. Still a few going in Canada and Alaska. Northern Europe. No, that's not Northern Europe, is it? Where are we? Oh, it's all across Europe. Western Russia. Siberia. Just look at the smoke. Terrible. This is what you get with the changing climate. And things are just going to get worse. Mass evacuation after fire triggers explosions at Siberian base. Flying shrapnel from military base leaves 1 soldier dead and at least 7 injured. Thousands have been evacuated from a Siberian town after an ammunition depot on a military base caught fire, triggering huge explosions that have sent deadly shrapnel flying for miles. This is where all the fires are. An ammo dump in Siberia. 40,000 tank and artillery shells kept on the base. Well, there was 40,000. I could think quite a few of them have been blown up. 2,000 miles east of Moscow. 11,000 people evacuated to a distance of 12 miles. I'm not sure that's far enough. The mayor's told 100,000 residents to prepare for evacuation. Explosion after explosion. There's a blast every 10 seconds, says a witness. It's not clear what caused the blasts, although lax safety precautions could be to blame. Here, have a look at this. Boom! Oh, let's watch it again. Look at that for a picture. No wonder they're getting evacuated. Hey, it's nearly time to put your head between your knees and kiss your arsehole goodbye. My Polly, not yours. Here, get it. Come and get it. Not yours, it's mine. Get it. Good. Take it. That's a good boy. I'm not doing a methane atmospheric concentration report this week. The METOP 2 satellite's on the blink again. No data available. But according to the METOP 1 data, the numbers indicating another 3 parts per billion rise since last week. So the only way is up. Right then. What with all these forest fires going on at the moment and the total destruction of the Earth's lungs, the tropical rainforests, I started wondering whether this could possibly have an effect on the amount of oxygen left in the atmosphere and what effects it could have if it depreciated quite markedly. At the moment, we're currently just below 21% of oxygen of all the gases in the atmosphere. And it says if the oxygen goes up to at least 23.5, it will have no effect. But that's the maximum level. So if it goes above that, it could have harmful health effects. And so if it drops 1.5% down to 19.5, it will have no effect, but that's the minimum permissible level. So if it drops below this figure, 19.5, it could affect, well, not just humans, but all warm-blooded creatures on the planet. Well, anything that's not a plant, really. Wouldn't really affect plants. If it drops down to 15%, we have a decreased ability to work strenuously, may impair coordination and may induce early symptoms with individuals that have coronary, pulmonary, or circulatory problems. If it drops down to 12%, the respiration and pulse increases as your body tries to get more oxygen into the system. And it results in impaired coordination, perception, and judgment. Further reductions down to 10%, respiration further increases in rate and depth, and you suffer with poor judgment and bluish lips, which isn't good. 8%, you'd last 8 minutes and you'd be dead. Half you'd be dead if you breathe 8% oxygen for 6 minutes, and you have a chance of recovery with treatments. Breathe it in for 4 to 5 minutes. And if it goes down to 6%, you're in a coma in 40 seconds with convulsions, respiration stops, and you're dead. But that's a bit extreme. So I'm looking at this dropping. What's the chances of it dropping from almost 21 down to 19.5? And I think there'll be effects if it drops less than 1.5. I think if it drops 0.5%, I think you'll start feeling a bit lethargic. So let's delve into this a little bit. I want to bring you all over to the Scripps website, which measures and reports on various atmospheric gases, but I'm focusing here on oxygen. And this is the Scripps Oxygen Global Oxygen Measurements. The programme measures changes in atmospheric oxygen levels from air samples collected at stations around the world. This sampling network provides a global and hemispheric perspective on global variability. The Scripps Oxygen Programme is based at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at La Jolla, California, and is under the direction of Professor Ralph Keeling. Well, we'll all be keeling over if the oxygen level drops down to 19.5%. Atmospheric oxygen levels are decreasing. Oxygen levels are decreasing globally due to fossil fuel burning and forests burning out of control and forests being devastated. The changes are too small to have an impact on human health yet, but are of interest due to the study of climate change and carbon dioxide. These plots show the atmospheric oxygen concentration relative to the level around 1985. The observed downward trend amounts to 19 per meg per year. This corresponds to losing 19 oxygen molecules out of every 1 million oxygen molecules in the atmosphere each year. So as you can see, for the past less than 30 years, we've lost 600 per meg. Hang on, I need a piss. I'll be right back. This downward trend would be higher were it not for the oceans giving up oxygen as they lose their ability to hold oxygen as its temperature increases. So as the Earth's oceans warm, they will give up more and more of their oxygen until the whole ocean becomes dead. I'll just open another can of lager. And have a sip. Oh, that's better. I hope you're gonna stay with me as the alcohol concentration in my bloodstream increases exponentially. Apologies for this slight interruption in service. I've lost the link to the next thing I wanted to show you on Scripps, which contains the letters double P. P I am using to pause and unpause my videos. So we'll have to go to a slight intermission while I try and get my head around this and sort it out. Drat. I proper buggered up this presentation. What I wanted to say was current levels are at 20.9% atmospheric oxygen levels, and if it drops 1.5% lower than that, down to 19.5, we'll all suffocate. So I wanted to work out how how it would come about if we lost 0.5%, namely down to 20.4. So to lose 0.5% from 20.9, that's about a drop of 1/40th. So 1/40th, what 1 million oxygen molecules equates to 25,000 oxygen molecules, and we've currently lost 600 in the past 25 years. So how long would it take? And I fed all the data into the Dumatron, and at the current levels of reduction, we will hit dangerously low levels by 3100. And if it carries on after that, we're at the serious level of 19.5% by the year 5100. That's assuming the drop doesn't accelerate as the planet burns. Where have we heard these numbers before in future forecasts for years? 5100, 3100, 2100. Ring a bell, anyone? My father always said that World War III would start in the Middle East. But I think there's a couple of flashpoints going on now at the moment that could more immediately set the spark for the end of civilization. Angry protests and tear gas in Sham Shui Po after arrest of Hong Kong student leader for possessing laser pens. Police fired tear gas at demonstrators and residents in Sham Shui Po on Tuesday evening after the arrest of a student leader sparked more protests. They've not had enough protests as it is. Look at them battling. China warns Hong Kong protesters that punishment is coming. And I have no doubt about that. Yang Wang, spokesman for the Chinese Cabinet's Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, speaks during a news conference in Beijing on Tuesday. China warned Tuesday that it will only be a matter of time before it punishes those behind 2 months of pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong that have increasingly devolved into violent clashes with law enforcement. They're only going to let it go on for so long. China's already told other countries to stay out of it, not naming the UK. Personally, but that's who it was directed at. And what can we do? If China just took it over, they sent in 500,000 troops. Well, I'm afraid that's imminent and inevitable. However, this is my best bet of the end of human civilization. If you've not been following it, Imran Khan, we will fight to final drop of blood over Kashmir. He's the president of Pakistan, and he's been openly talking about the use of nuclear weapons on India because they've infringed on Kashmir, the disputed area between India and Pakistan, which goes back decades. Pakistan has threatened to fight to the last drop of blood over the disputed region of Kashmir. Prime Minister Khan accused India of a plan of ethnic cleansing in the part of the territory it controls. It followed the removal of the special status which prevented Indians from elsewhere holding government jobs there or buying land. So India's trying to take over Kashmir, and he's threatening retaliating with nukes, and they both got nukes. This is not good. I think they're both arseholes. Here's a map of the area in question. This is northern India. Here's Pakistan. There's the border. No problems there. And then we get to Kashmir, which is the red border. And the orange bit's the bit halfway through. So India's asserting its influence over Kashmir, and Pakistan's not very happy about it. But what's the real reason why all this is happening? It's water. All the India and Pakistan rely totally on the rivers that flow from the glaciers in the mountains, and India has suffered major shortages this year, had to bring in trains to keep people alive, and it's forecast that next year they'll have no water at all because the wells will run dry. So India wants to control all the rivers flowing through Kashmir. This is not a good situation. This could be the first water war on the planet, and probably more than likely end up in nuclear war. Now, I know my regular viewers may have been eagerly anticipating a video of me doing a presentation on symbiosis in nature, which I promised. I just can't seem to get round to doing it. But I'd like to share with you now what I think is the most amazing culmination of evolution on the planet that's ever happened. This is amazing. There's quite a few articles about this on the internet, but I don't think any of them sums it up any better than this one from Isaac Mack. I Want Ice Water. This is back in 2013. So have a listen to this if you don't already know about it. Because of the symbiotic relationship of the Brazil nut tree, its flowers and seed pods, a rainforest orchid called Coryanthes vasquezi, the sex lives of Euglossa orchid bees, and the feeding habits of a tropical rodent called agouti. And every single one of these species is so intertwined, and the loss of one would mean the loss of all. It's absolutely fantastic. There's your Brazil nuts and your Brazil nut tree, the seed pods, the agouti, more seed pods. They're the flowers of the Brazil nut, and that's the orchid, and they're the bees. It's absolutely fascinating. So let's get into this. First of all, the Brazil nut tree flowers for only a single day each year, one day. And the flowers are so tough to deal with that only the female Euglossa orchid bee has the strength required to get it to the nectar inside. So the Brazil nut is totally dependent on this particular bee. No other bees can pollinate it. But the existence of this very muscular bee is entirely dependent on its ability to mate. And of course it mates with only the best smelling males of her species. To achieve just the right degree of fragrance, the male bees are forced to spend most of their time pollinating the Coryanthes vasquezi variety of orchid, which grows on the nut tree, not for its nectar, but to gather the flower scent using forearms specially evolved for that purpose, which it then carries around in pockets on its hind legs that have evolved specifically for that purpose as well, all in the hope of being selected as a suitable mate. After all that, it still takes the seed pod a full 14 months to achieve its near 5-pound maturity after the flowers are pollinated, and once that happens, it's on the lookout for anything below. And here comes the agouti, which transports its seeds after 14 months of growing. There are other examples of symbiosis in nature, but this one certainly is difficult to get your head round. You've got the Brazil nut, which produces a flower one day a year, which is only accepts one kind of bee. It's the only bee that can get in there. And this orchid grows on the Brazil nut tree, and the male version of the bee pollinates the orchid in order to gather scent to attract the female bee. Oh wow. It's just crazy. Blows my mind. Really does.
So let's get going. Fight!
Hello, this is Nostradamus. It's time for 4H News. Oh, bugger. What the hell is my cult following? 40 subscribers. I should have millions of people watching my videos. I guess they'll all start watching like 1 week before the end, when when the cities are burning around them. Well, on to the next article. First human monkey chimera raises concern amongst scientists. Ooh, what are they concerned about? They reprogrammed human cells and then injected them into monkeys. Right, Planet of the Apes, this. The latest report, published in the Spanish newspaper El País, claims a team of researchers led by Professor Juan Carlos Ispizua Belmonte from the Salk Institute in the US have produced monkey-human chimeras. The research was conducted in China to avoid legal issues, according to the report. So here we have a US institute doing their experiments in China to avoid ethical issues, I think that should say, not legal. Mad Professor Robin Lovell-Badge, a development biologist from London's Francis Crick Institute, agreed. I don't think it is particularly concerning in terms of the ethics, because you're not taking them far enough to have a nervous system or develop in any way. It's just really a ball of cells, he said. Who knows how far they're taking these experiments. The news of the monkey-human chimeras comes shortly after it was reported Japanese researchers, God, they're all at it, such as Professor Hiromitsu Nakuchi, received government support to create mouse-human chimeras. And they had 30% human brains. Oh, flippin' heck. One possible approach for brain research is that a monkey embryo could be genetically altered and then injected with human stem cells so that part of the brain, for example the hippocampus, is composed only of human cells. That's 100% human, folks. A similar approach has previously been used by Mad Crazy Bastard and colleagues to grow a rat pancreas inside a mouse. If you just swap the hippocampus, it doesn't mean you are now going to have a human functioning brain, said Lovell-Badge. It might have perhaps slightly better memories or slightly different memories, but they're not going to have a human cortex, which is what actually makes us human. Bad shit, this. They're doing all sorts. Such proposals walk straight into the ethical arena. Others have been at pains to dodge the possibility of human cells ending up in monkey brains, a development some fear could result in the creatures being human-like. Researchers have previously said they are able to prevent human cells ending up in chimeras' brains or sex organs. Mad Bastard de Los Angeles said there is still a long way to go before human-monkey chimeras are brought to term. Want to know what I think? I think these poor creatures have already been brought into this awful satanic world. Now, who'd like some extra pennies to get them through the early days after the collapse of global civilization? Maybe stock up on a few tins of tin food, or buy a firearm or two with the extra cash you're going to get after the advice I'm going to give you. It's almost 2 a.m. here in the UK. I've been doing this video bloody hours and hours. Want to give something to you? I've been feeding lots of data into the Doomatron, and it's come up with this little beauty. It's running at the moment in 12.5 hours time. So by the time this video's up and posted and running, you'll have a bit less than 12 hours to get your bets on. This is in the 2:20 at Yarmouth tomorrow. And here's the field. There's the betting. There you go. What's the favourite? Global Oaks the favourite. Arrives in good form. Second to 12 in handicap here. 9 days ago. Effective at 6 furlongs and the one to beat. I don't think that's got any hope at all. This is a really shitty race. A maiden handicap. All these are horses that's run loads of times and never got near to winning. These are donkeys. I think the most likely winner, myself, is Praxidis. That's second favourite. At 137-2 you can get for that. But the Doomatron has gone for the complete outsider, the rag. Remission. It's run 5 races and only ever finished in front of 2 horses. It's finished last, second to last, last, second to last. It's complete donker. But the Doomatron says, pile on, remission. And it's currently available at 50-1. It's got a 1 in 7 chance of winning. And the favourite's got no hopes. So, there's only 7 runners, so each way's a bit crapper. First, you can get first and second. If there'd been 8 runners, I'd say, get your money on. 8 runners, each way laughing, but there's only 7. So, what I would suggest is, get on the nose at 50-1 to win. I've got a tenner on it. So, 500 quid for me. But have a little saver forecast for the second favourite to beat it. Nice little 200 to 1 for the forecast. Pile on, get on it. The Doomatron never lies. I'm going to end with some sad news from the End Times. Headline: Foreign Age News subscriber commits suicide, by Ivor Biggin. YouTube enthusiast Harry Carey killed himself yesterday after watching Nostradamus' latest Foreign Age news report. The YouTube channel paints a disturbing, depressing vision for the future of the planet as supposed human-induced climate change accelerates. Nostradamus, myself, I did decline to be interviewed, but I did give a brief statement, and I told them, well, at least that's one less planet eater. Nobody forced him to watch it, did they? Well, people, I've just put the Doomatron to the ultimate test, and it's tipped up a 50 to 1 winner in 12 hours' time. So, you know what that means? If that comes in, that everything else that Doomatron's predicted to happen in the future is extremely more likely to be exact and an accurate projection of what is about to come about everything else. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy my videos. It's good that the people that get it, that know what's coming, have a bit of a laugh before shit hits the fan, as they say. There isn't long left, and I feel the need now to go out and seek wild, rampant sex and fields of magic mushrooms, because there's bugger all any one individual can do about this. Even a worldwide effort can't avoid what's coming. Can't stop it. It's gone too far, and Mother Earth is decided to take us out. I've started rambling again, so I better shut up. I'll leave you a few more tunes in my box. Have a listen if you like. Let me know what you think of them. Please like, subscribe and share my video. And if you don't like my tunes, I suggest you listen to the music that you like yourselves. It's a great way to relax in these uncertain times. Right, I'm off now. Thanks to everybody that's still listening to me and stuck with me right to the end of this video. I wish you all the most unpleasant, uh, least unpleasant of deaths. What I'm trying to say. When it comes, won't be long. What I'm trying to say is try and stay civilized, even though after it's become blatantly obvious, not got long left. Don't be going ignoring your kids and getting your tits out like some other people have done. That's not the way to go. Just be nice to each other and not horrible. I'll see you all again in a few days or a few weeks, depending on the next assessment of how long's left. The Nostradamus's clock is getting ever and ever faster and nearer to midnight. Take care, everyone, and bye for now. Ta-da.